Hey, family. Welcome back to the channel, guys. All right, I'm gonna get this sending out healing, peace, and love vibrations to everyone in the world today. All right, take that. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get into this Lazarus story, and it's really exciting. It actually segues into this the diet. It's called Hesed. That's Yahshua's diet, and he has a sermon in here that it talks about that he wants Lazarus to read. And so after this Lazarus, I'm going to get that sermon up for you guys here on our 2B22. Right? All right, so let's get going. There's a lot of stuff we're going to cover because this actual chapter 77 is already on the channel, the first part of it, and it's really juicy. This is the sermon to sincere spiritual seekers. If you haven't seen it, you are missing out. But this is the first part of it, and it's already on my channel. I don't really need to show you, but I am. This is it. Sermon to sincere spiritual seekers. I did it about a month ago. You guys want to check this out, all right? Because it's the beginning of this chapter leading right into the Lazarus story. So this is chapter 77, Holy Megillah Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. This is where the Lord helps the soul of Lazarus return to its physical body. Okay, so it's already pretty interesting, just the title, right? So let's go. Before the meal, because this is right after they gave that sermon. And I gotta give you a piece of it. Because in that sermon to sincere spiritual seekers, man, they had some communions that told us to do this in remembrance of them and in the remembrance of our true self. So I just want to read one because I'm telling you, that video is powerful. She said, "Free yourself of narrow confines, be thou limitless. Do this in remembrance of us, but also do this in remembrance of your true self." It's like 5 or 6 things she said. Free yourself of death. Life is within you and around you. Do this in remembrance of us, but also do this in remembrance of your true self. I'm telling you guys, this was so good. She said, this was the teachings from Miriam in the sermon to sincere spiritual seekers. It's a tag team. So Yahshua gives a few verses and then Miriam comes in. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you definitely want to watch that. It's not this video. It's just the beginning of the chapter. It's just what happens right before we pick up right here, where they were about to have dinner after that sermon, and before the meal, an unknown woman that had attended the gathering, her name was Mary, which was a very common name, approached Yahshua and said, "Lord, a month ago, your advance team came to Bethany to prepare you for your visit. On the first day of their outreach in Bethany, my brother Lazarus and I became so excited about your coming visit that we decided to fast until your arrival. After 14 days, I ended the fast. I sensed that I would harm myself if I continued any longer. Lazarus did not end his fast, and lo, after 21 days, he slipped into a coma, and no healer has been able to revive him. He has been in a coma for a week. Will you please come and try to revive him?" The home was nearby, and the Lord immediately went to see Lazarus, taking only Magdana and Philip. Philip went because Yosef, the Ari Matatiah, being in charge of Yahshua and Miriam's security team of lions, insisted that Yahshua take at least one trained martial artist with him. And Magdana went so that she could record what happened, and because Yahshua wanted her to provide a copy of his sermon to Nazarene ascetics to Lazarus. And that's what's going to come next. It's going to be like a series of videos. That's this, chapter 73, Yahshua's sermon to the Nazarene ascetics of Alexandria. Okay, and it's really important, okay, because a lot of these sects have went overboard And I'm going to talk more about it at the end. But this is what he wanted McDonough to lead with Lazarus, this sermon here. So we're going to get a piece of it, right, when we get there. All right. So Miriam and the other companions stayed behind at the gathering to interact with the guests while Yahshua was away. When Yahshua reached the home, Mary's wealthy sister Martha, who was also her nearest neighbor, was sitting beside the bed of her younger brother Lazarus. Before leaving to hear the Lord preach that day, Mary had arranged for Martha to watch Lazarus. Martha, whose wealthy husband owned the small house that let her siblings live in, was anxious to get back to her own home, a large farmhouse on the adjoining land. Martha, feeling stressed out, snapped at her sister. Mary, saying, "While you played at being spiritual all day, I sat here and prayed for our brother." "You are far later than you said you would be. My husband is waiting for me to make dinner." Mary, sorry that her sister was being rude in front of the Lord, said, "I apologize for being so late, but I too acted today to help our dear brother Lazarus. This man, Yahshua, has offered to try to help Lazarus." Martha replied, "Forgive my bad manners, sir. I will stay and watch, but with little hope. I have already paid for the best healers from neighboring Jerusalem, and none could help him. They say he is barely alive, and none can wake him." Feeling the tension in the room, Yahshua said to the two sisters, "You have both been under a great deal of stress. Let us now hold hands in a circle and simply relax." McDonough and Philip, having been invited to participate, joined hands with Yahshua, Mary, and Martha, forming a circle. Yahshua said, "Find your spiritual centers and simply be calm. Relax. Breathe deep of love. Bathe in that love while you briefly retain your breath. Then exhale that love so to share it with the world. Repeat that breath several times." After a period of this meditative breathing, perceiving that the group was relatively centered and that a peaceful vibe now prevailed, Yahshua said, "Remain in this circle holding hands while doing this love breath meditation, but with one difference. Now, on each exhale of love, inwardly visualize that the love is going into the top of the head of Lazarus and from there down to his heart." While the others did as the Lord had instructed, Yahshua placed his hands on the crown of Lazarus' head and attuned himself to the soul of Lazarus. Behold, the Lord discovered that the soul of Lazarus was no longer in his body. For a week now, the soul had been hovering outside of the body, unsure how to return. For lo, in his long fast, Lazarus got so airy-fairy that he, the soul, unintentionally popped out of his crown chakra and exited his physical body. Not knowing what to do to return, the soul hovered like a ghost above the body. Yahshua left, so now it says Yahshua's soul intentionally left his own physical body in order to guide the soul of Lazarus to the entryway back into his body. Lazarus returned through his crown chakra to his physical body and opened his eyes. He said to the group, "Behold, the soul of Yahshua led me to the entryway back into my body, and that entryway became a blazing circle of love. And in that circle, I saw all of your faces and felt your love calling me back into my current home, my body." After everyone joyfully hugged one another and gave thanks for this seeming miracle, Yahshua said, "This was only possible because the thread of light that connects the soul to a particular physical body was not yet severed." After a time of conversation and attending to the immediate needs of Lazarus, which included a bit of food, the Lord said, "I have asked McDonough to make you a copy of a talk that I recently gave to a group of Nazarene ascetics. Like you, Lazarus, some of them were a bit overzealous in their asceticism. I intuitively perceived that even prior to this fast, even before being excited to hear that I was coming to Bethany, you have long been overzealous in your ascetic practices. Wherefore, when McDonough has made you a copy of Sermon to Nazarene Ascetics, Philip will deliver it. Although you are not yet Nazarene, that sermon includes information that is pertinent to any ascetic." Sorry, I had to close my eyes. Sometimes these words start twisting in my mind. Lazarus replied, "I will read it, and do not be surprised if I am soon a Nazarene." Yahshua smiled and said, "I won't be at all surprised." McDonough added, "It will only take me one day to make that copy." Philip said, I recognize how blessed I am to have participated in this profound experience. It will be my pleasure to bring the copy of that sermon to you once McDonough is done. Mary said, please, Philip, when you return, plan on staying for dinner. I want you to teach me about horses. For behold, at the gathering today, I asked Miriam your name, and she said that you are Philip, horse lover. Philip smiled at the Lord and asked playfully, Yahshua, was it Miriam that suggested that you bring me on this trip? Yahshua smiled and said, actually, Yosef the Ari Matatia insisted that I bring at least one trained Nazarene martial artist with me. He appeared to be about to designate Yehuda when Miriam said, send Philip. I won't attempt to speculate on her motives for that unusual intervention. Everyone laughed, even Mary and Philip laughed, though they also blushed. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about why Philip is included in this. And it's very important because if you haven't read about Philip and who he was, you won't get what's happening here. And there was also another part, prophecy that was made by the prophetess Nebiah over Philip. And Philip was a very young man who was a Nazarene lion, and his story is recorded in chapter 29, which is on my channel too. It's called the 49-day fast of Yahshua. It has Philip's story in there. Philip was there was 3 lions of his presence, and they all asked him a question. Philip asked this question about celibacy. So you want to go watch this video, because this entire message that we're getting with Lazarus was about being a little overzealous with asceticism. And celibacy happens to be one of those things that they went overboard with. And in this Holy Megillah, it's very clear that to serve the Most High, or to be a high priest in the Nazarene religion, you're not called to be celibate. Celibacy is a personal choice. And listen what he said real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. The youngest lion, and I'm telling you it's Philip. If you go watch the video, you'll see it's Philip. But he was the youngest lion. He asked, why is the sexual urge so strong within me, though I have chosen celibacy? Yahshua replied, the universe is very sexual. For lo, sexual energy is the fire of creation. Okay? When it says, were the universe not sexual, you would not exist. Give thanks for sexual energy. Even so, the sexual fire is fire, and fire can get out of control and burn a village. Wherefore, some choose to guard against misuse of sexual energy by embracing celibacy. For some, that path is appropriate. For most, it is not. Whether or not that path is appropriate for you, only you can decide. Let no one compel another to take the vow of celibacy. And know this, what may be right for you at one point in life may be wrong at another point. Okay, you are free to change your mind at any time. In general, this is what Yahshua is saying, I do not advise lifelong celibacy, except for the handful called to it. For behold, look at nature. What creatures are naturally celibate for life? So, and then Yahshua says, Isaiah spoke truly when he said that there is a proper time for all things under the sun. You may be wise in choosing celibacy now while you're a youthful guardian lion on a mission, for lo, it would not be good to leave a child at home without a father for a long time. But you are nevertheless a man in the natural years of highest sexual energy. Vow of celibacy or not, the fire of life will not disappear. Pray for the power to manifest your choice. Forgive yourself if you stumble, and know that you are free to make a new choice at any time. But do not think that the sexual energy is bad or that sexual intercourse is not blessed. Behold, the sexual fire is blessed by Yah and practiced by Jaja and Elohim. Jadeh and Janah are of the sexual fire of Jaja, and you are of the fruit of our tree. and you are the fruit of our tree. Yea, the sexual fire is blessed. Okay, so I think it's important why Philip was included in this story, and he ends up meeting Mary, Lazarus' sister, and if you hear the end of it, you can tell that he ends up, that vow of celibacy probably don't last much longer. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's so amazing that you have to be studying the entire book to get the whole picture here, because this is not just about dietary practices. It's about all of the different levels and things of asceticism. Celibacy and fasting is this message that's coming through in this story of Lazarus, okay? That don't go overboard, all right? So it ends with Martha said, speaking of dinner plans, I need to go make dinner for my husband. Yahshua, if there is ever a time that this family can be of service to you or your friends, do not hesitate to send us the message. She paused, gazed at the still blushing faces of Mary and Philip, and then added, you can have Philip deliver it. Again, everyone laughed, okay? To those readers of the Holy Gospel that wonder if this young woman, Mary, might have been the very woman that Nebiah had spoken of when she spoke a prophecy about the future of Philip, I, Sarah, give you one hint. You are very intuitive. That's another part in here that you guys, I haven't brought to you yet, but it's the prophecy of Nebiah, who she laid hands on everybody, and she prophesied that Philip would, you know, have a wife and a family. And even though he had taken the vow of celibacy at his younger years while he was serving in the Lions of Zion, obviously this is going to be his wife, Mary and Philip. They end up getting married. I haven't read that part yet, but I could tell. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. I'm getting this together to bring this, because as we're learning all of these universal laws, you know it's got to come with instructions on what to do. And that's amazing. We're going through all of this what not to do, and at the same time we're being given what to do. So get your copy, guys. If you need the phone number, just ask me in the comments and I'll put it in there. It's on the other videos and it's on the community page. In the comments, people ask. I got mine from this place. This guy, this is the translator. I don't know if you can see it, but if you want to order your copy, you can call the Lighthouse Bookstore at 541-991-3080. Okay, guys, and they got other literature there too. So it's not just the Holy Megillah, but it's all these different lessons and teachings and everything. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.
I praise you, I got my witness back too. Now I have more than just a clue of what's really going on. I pass it on through the song from dusk to dawn. Jesus is King, King of guns, getting closer.